I recently overheard a statement that anyone who buys the Nissan X-Trail buys it because they can't afford the Toyota RAV4 or the Vanguard. As peculiar as that may sound, I beg to differ, and there could be some truth into that. Hello good people, welcome to Keep Left, your old car guide to all things cars and all things automotive. As always, my name is Kev, the host who knows most about cars, and today we have the second generation of the Nissan X-Trail, the 2012 Nissan X-Trail. The second generation of the Nissan X-Trail ran from 2007 to 2013. And the assignment for Nissan at this point, following the first generation, was very easy because, unlike most people thought, the first generation of the Nissan X-Trail performed exceedingly well. And this is to go by comments that these cars are bought by people who can't afford the RAV4 or the Vanguard. Here's the thing that you don't know. The Nissan outsold their competitors in sales, and mostly in Africa, because they were durable, easy to live, and very, very fuel efficient. So in terms of the exterior, what do we like about the Nissan X-Trail? I can tell you the boxish finish about this car is what most people have come to learn. Considering the competitors in this generation, most cars are curvier and a bit sleeker in terms of their design. And if you consider the X-Trail and its boxish finish, it reminds us of a very important car in the off-road community, which is the Land Rover Defender. Its boxish finish comes close to that. Not that it has the same capabilities in terms of off-road ability, but it gives you a sense of that clunkiness in terms of its finish. And this goes by the feel that it gives you on the interior. As I review the interior in a few minutes, you'll just get to know that. In terms of the shape, they still maintain these very long tail lights, which have come to be reminiscent about X-Trails. In fact, if you consider the next generation, the third generation, which they ditched these long lights, they ceased from being the Nissan X-Trails of the old. Interior changes from the previous generation is that they ditched the center located instrument cluster, which used to be here, and they went with a more conventional right placed instrument cluster, which is good. The center located instrument cluster was something different, and I know Nissan did this because they were coming up with something for the new millennium, and it was they wanted to show a different side of them. And Nissan, by the way, have been one of those companies that have never shied to do things unconventionally. It was a good touch, but most people didn't love it. And the fact that they relocated the instrument cluster to the center position just goes to show you that they were able to take feedback and be a bit sensitive in terms of what they were trying to do with this car. So in terms of interior, I like the interior of the Nissan X-Trail, and particularly this model, because it features a very nice and easy to maintain leather interior, very soft leather, which works very well with this interior. Again, it's a dark interior. One thing I like about the Nissan X-Trail interior is this plastic finish. Most people don't like this, but this goes on into playing into the durability of this. This will never crack, it will never scratch. It is easy to maintain and to clean. These surfaces are very easy to maintain. The other thing I love about the interior is I think Nissan X-Trail is crazy about compartments. The number of compartments in this car is bonkers. You have a very huge compartment here. You have this main compartment here, and it's one of the deepest because you can store so much. Cup holders, you're well taken care of. You can put anything there on both sides. You have cup holders. The other thing I notice about this car is it has heated seats, which goes well with the leather finish. Aside from that, it has a very simple finish. The infotainment system is a touch screen, and that is very easy to use. What I found to be a bit peculiar and lacking in this particular generation and spec of this car is it lacks steering wheel controls for this one, for probably controlling the radio and other accessories within. But that is something you can always live with. This is the position that I was driving at, and so you don't get so much space. And considering this is a medium-sized SUV, I expected to get much more space. On the plus side is you get ventilation on the armrest, the armrest, which is quite nice and will feeds the passengers at the back very well. Again, the transmission tunnel here will most definitely wedge anyone who would want to sit here, and the fact that there's this armrest means you can't put your feet here. Not something that will dissuade you from buying the car, but it's something that causes a bit of a lack in space at the back. If you consider, you see, this space is not the best. The seats are leather again, and one of the things that I like about the center seats is, and this has become common in most cars, is you have this center armrest, which is quite nice. It ensures that you can convert this into a four-seater car, which is quite good and a bit executive if you might think about it in this sense. The headlining, one thing that I love about Nissan X-Trail, they've always maintained this sort of plastic headliner, which is durable. Nothing will ever happen to this. All generation of X-Trails have come with this, depending on the spec, which is quite nice. And in fact, with the headliner being plastic, you can't forget the bottom. So X-Trails come with this plastic finish at the bottom, which is very easy to clean as opposed to having a cloth interior at the bottom. Very nice and durable. This is what I was talking about, X-Trails portraying a much more rugged finish and outlook as opposed to most cars in this generation. In terms of boot space, you are well taken care of. This car boasts of a lot of space, and also considering the fact that these rear seats, they fold up flat and you end up with a very flat bottom. One thing I've noticed is you have this harness for car seats, for child's car seats, which is very nice. Most cars will have them on top, but this one's at the bottom here. The other thing that I like about the Nissan X-Trail at the back is the plastic finish. Most people will be very skeptical about the plastic finish, but the beauty about this is if you have anything that can scratch these surfaces, you are well taken care of, because this is a toolbox, and it's at home with this space. You also get many compartments to hide your accessories or anything that you might need to hide. The jack is hosted in this particular spot. There are AC outputs in all areas. You have this hook to harness anything, probably a bag of potatoes or something that you don't need to play around. It is well thought about. And remember, and as I talk about it later on in this video, is the cabin space is very big, bigger than most cars in this division. And this, consider the CRV, consider the RAV4, the Vanguard, and any other car in this particular size. This one, because of its boxish size, it ends up having a very big cabin space, which is very nice. The spare wheel is well housed under here, and you have it's normally the donut, which is very nice. I'm impressed with the space. Under the bonnet of the Nissan X-Trail houses 3 different types of engines. For instance, this particular engine is the 2-liter MR20DE. 4-cylinder engine, works very well, has enough power, and is quite fuel efficient in terms of its use, considering the size. The other engine type you have in this is the 2.5-liter, the QR25DE, 2.5-liter. Those ones are quite impressive in terms of the power that they pack and their usability. They tend to be a bit peppier than these models, and this is considering the amount of weight that they carry around. The final engine proposition is the diesel engine. The diesel engine is the M9R 2-liter engine, diesel turbocharged engine. And in future generations, you notice that most Nissans are going the direction of having a smaller engine and having it turbocharged. This goes along with fuel consumption and emission laws in most Western countries. In terms of transmissions, they have 2 different transmission types with the second generation. The first one is the 6-speed manual transmission, which comes with the diesel engines and the 2.5-liter engines. The second one is the CVT transmission, which comes with this 2-liter engine. The CVT transmission is a 6-speed auto transmission. With this generation of cars, you can either have them as 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. For the 4-wheel drive derivatives, you'll get this center control for your 4-wheel drive. From the previous generation, that used to be in this position to control them. Aside from that, this car, by the virtue that it has the leather seats, you have the option of heated seats. Not only the front heated seats, but the rear ones are also heated. Aside from that, you have a control for hill descent, which enables you, when you are descending, the car is able to control the speed and descend quite controllably, which is quite nice. Aside from that, you have these cup holders here. Not to forget the cup holders on the door cards of the front doors, which is quite nice. Aside from that, you get these compartments where you can put extra things. You can put like a phone here, but not advisable because it will always roll off. You get the top area for putting probably shades or any other items that you can put here, which is quite standard for this medium-sized SUVs. Aside from that, these cars just are simple and very easy to utilize on your daily usage. To be honest, from the previous generation, the sitting position is you're almost in a towering position, which is very nice. You're able to see the bonnet very clearly and the space in front. The car doesn't lumber along. I've read so many reviews in terms of this Nissan X-Trail, the second generation, and one of the things that I've noticed most people will talk about is that these 2-liter engines are very dreary and lumber along. Well, that could be up for debate, because it depends with how much power you want in these cars. And ideally, this is being a compact SUV, you really don't want them to be extremely powerful, because at the end of the day, you're not buying this car for its speed and power. You might want it to have a bit more torque, probably for if you wanted to do a bit of off-roading. So in my opinion, the power is quite enough, because it gets along very well and gets up to speed quite well. What are the drawbacks that you can you get when you buy this car? One of the biggest drawbacks of the Nissan X-Trail has to do with the gearbox. Remember, this is the CVT transmission, the 6-speed auto CVT transmission, and as such, CVTs have a reputation, and especially Nissan CVTs have a reputation of developing a whining noise, which can often cause you a lot of concern. So the thing that I found out about Nissan X-Trails is that from the factory, they don't talk about maintenance schedules for the CVTs, but just as good practice, always service your CVT gearbox for every 40,000 kilometers, and it's gonna give you a lot of mileage. The second drawback is the cabin noise. If you can see by just the space, it is humongous, and that means there is a lot of space for sound to move, and as such, it tends to have a lot of noise in terms of the cabin space. It can be noisy, especially with the doors or on the back door moving around and clanking. You develop that distinct sound, which is not really bad. Remember, this is quite reminiscent of Defender in terms of the shape, and it's quite very boxy, and that's what most people like it for. So there'll always be that cabin noise that you'll always feel, which is not the best. The other drawback is, and it's not really a drawback if at all you maintain the car well, is that in terms of the engine, you will always have a timing chain rattle. If the car isn't serviced well, you'll always develop that rattle. So as a remedy, just good maintenance will enable you to at least keep this to a minimal. That goes for most timing chain driven vehicles. Prices, how much do this go for, especially considering this generation ran from 2007 up to 2013? For the entry ones, the 2007, 8 thereabout, you can get them for around 750 to 800,000, and the very earlier models, which are the later models, 2013 thereabout, we will talk about anything in the realms of 1.6 to 1.8 million. Obviously, depending on how well the car has been maintained and and the trim package that you get. Remember, these cars, you get them with 2 packages, the X package and the S package. So depending on the trim, again, you get different amenities to go with the car. Thank you so much for watching this episode, and if you've liked it, give it a huge thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, take this opportunity and subscribe, and for future notifications about this video, ring on the bell icon. And until next time, it is peace.